Life becomes so much lighter when you realize you don't have to control everything. That's the heartbeat of the let them theory. The reminder that so much of the stress, tension, and exhaustion we feel every day doesn't actually come from the situations themselves, but from our desperate attempts to manage what is outside of our control. Think about how often we drain ourselves trying to change the unchangeable, trying to convince people to see things our way, trying to protect our reputation from criticism, trying to keep everyone around us happy, even when it costs us our own peace. The truth is, we spend enormous amounts of energy in battles we were never meant to fight. And the moment you decide to step back and say, I don't need to control this, is the moment life opens up in a whole new way. The let them theory asks us to shift from control to clarity. Instead of asking, how can I make them understand me? Or how do I get them to treat me better? Or how can I stop them from doubting me? It challenges us to ask, what can I control right now? And the answer is always the same, you. You can control your response, your mindset, your choices, and your energy. That's it. When you cling to the illusion that you can also control how people behave, you inevitably end up frustrated and powerless because the harder you grip, the less you actually hold. When you embrace the let them theory, you learn to release that grip and stand in the freedom of only carrying what is truly yours. Imagine a situation where someone judges you unfairly. They criticize your decisions. Maybe they mock your ambitions or they question your choices. The natural instinct is to defend yourself, to argue, to prove them wrong. But what does that really accomplish? Maybe you win the argument, but at what cost? You've invested energy, time, and emotion in trying to change someone's mind who, truthfully, may never be willing to see things differently. The let them theory says, let them judge. Let them think what they think. Their opinion doesn't pay your bills, it doesn't define your worth, and it doesn't cancel your purpose. The second you stop wrestling for their approval, you take your power back. Or take another example. A friend, colleague, or partner decides to walk away. They don't value your presence in the same way you value theirs. Most people spend months, even years, chasing after what left them, begging for explanations, trying to glue back together something that was never meant to stay whole. But the let them theory offers a different path. Let them walk. Let them go. Your energy is too valuable to be wasted on what doesn't want to be kept. When you cling to people who are already halfway out the door, you block yourself from the relationships and opportunities that are waiting for you. Release the grip. When you let them go, you make room for better. Now, this doesn't mean you stop caring or that you give up on people too quickly. It simply means you learn the difference between what is yours to carry and what isn't. You cannot control who stays, who leaves, who applauds, or who criticizes, but you can control whether you lose yourself in the process. The let them theory isn't about indifference. It's about wisdom. It's about clarity. It's about understanding that your peace is worth more than your need to be right, and your power is worth more than your desire to be liked. Think about the constant noise of life, the gossip, the drama, the opinions. How many times have you been pulled into arguments or conflicts that didn't even belong to you? Someone else chooses negativity, and suddenly you feel the need to respond, to match their energy, to prove your point. But here's the truth. You don't have to attend every argument you're invited to. You don't have to jump into the storm just because someone else is stirring the winds. Let them choose drama. Let them stew in their negativity. That doesn't have to be your story. When you choose peace over participation, you reclaim your power. And the beauty of this approach is that it's universal. It applies in your personal life, your professional life, your family life, and even within yourself. The let them theory is really about building boundaries without bitterness. It's about being so clear on your values and your vision that you no longer bend yourself out of shape to fit inside someone else's box. You don't need to control what they think. You don't need to control what they say. You don't need to control what they do. You just need to control you. And that is where real strength lies. The greatest shift happens when you realize that letting them doesn't mean losing. It means choosing. It means choosing peace over chaos, freedom over frustration, self-respect over approval. It means you no longer beg for what was never meant for you. You no longer argue for your worth, you embody it. You no longer chase validation, you create your own. That is the essence of taking back your peace and power. So the next time you find yourself caught in the exhausting loop of trying to manage what's outside your control, pause, breathe, remind yourself of these three simple words: let them. Let them judge, let them leave, let them doubt, let them gossip, let them misunderstand. And while they're busy doing all of that, you stay busy becoming. Stay busy building. Stay busy living a life so aligned, so purposeful, and so full of peace that you don't need their approval to keep moving forward. That is how you take back your power, by refusing to give it away in the first place. People will always have something to say about you. They will comment on your choices, they will question your decisions, and they will form opinions about your worth, your potential, and even your character. That is human nature. We all observe, we all judge. The problem isn't that people have opinions. The problem is that we give those opinions too much power. We let them echo inside our heads, we let them steer our choices, and we let them dictate how we feel about ourselves. The let them theory challenges this cycle by reminding you, if they judge, let them. Their opinion does not change your worth. Think about how much energy is wasted trying to manage perceptions. You wear masks to be more likable. You take on roles you don't want to please others. You hold back your real self for fear of rejection. And yet, even when you bend, twist, and mold yourself into what you think others want, it still isn't enough for everyone. Someone will still criticize, someone will still doubt, someone will still judge. The harsh truth is this: you could be the kindest, most hardworking, most talented person in the world, and there will still be someone who thinks you're not enough. So why waste your life trying to win a game you can never win? The most freeing decision you can make is to stop letting outside opinions determine your inside identity. What they think of you is not your business. It's theirs. It belongs to them. You don't need to defend yourself against every comment. You don't need to prove your worth to every skeptic, and you don't need to lower your light so others feel more comfortable in their shadows. Your value is not up for debate. It was set the moment you arrived in this world, and no amount of gossip, criticism, or disbelief can take it away. Of course, it doesn't always feel that simple. Words sting. Rejection hurts. When someone mocks your dream, laughs at your goals, or tells you you're not capable, it can feel personal. And yet, more often than not, judgment is a reflection of the other person, not you. People criticize what they don't understand. They dismiss what they can't imagine for themselves. They project their insecurities onto others. When someone says, "You'll never make it," what they're really saying is, "I don't believe I could ever make it." When someone says, "That's impossible," what they mean is, "That feels impossible to me." And when someone says, "You're not good enough," what they're really revealing is their own struggle with not feeling good enough. Once you understand that judgment often says more about the judge than the one being judged, you can release yourself from its grip. Imagine for a moment that you are walking on a stage, ready to give the performance of your life. In the front row sits one person scowling, arms crossed, unimpressed. In the second row, there's someone yawning. A few seats down, someone is whispering to their friend. Now, if you fix your eyes on those people, you'll shrink. You'll doubt yourself. You'll stumble. But if you lift your eyes higher, you'll notice rows of people who are clapping, smiling, leaning forward, excited to hear you. The truth is, no matter what you do, there will always be a scowling face in the crowd. But you can choose where you place your focus. Will you live your life for the critic or for the calling? The let them theory is about choosing the latter. If they want to judge, let them. While they're busy whispering, you stay busy working. While they're rolling their eyes, you stay steady on your path. While they're doubting, you keep believing. Because here's the reality: nothing silences judgment more powerfully than results. Nothing shuts down doubt more effectively than persistence. Nothing renders criticism more meaningless than a person who refuses to quit. But the victory isn't even in proving them wrong. It's in no longer needing to. When you truly embrace your worth, you realize you don't have to win every skeptic over. You don't have to convince anyone to believe in you. You only need to believe in yourself. You only need to keep showing up. And as you do, you'll discover that their voices grow smaller and smaller until eventually they fade into the background noise of a life well lived. The people who judged you at the beginning will often be the same ones who say they always knew you'd succeed. The ones who doubted you will one day want to be associated with your success. But you won't even need their applause anymore, because by then, you will have learned the deeper truth. Your peace and your power never came from their approval in the first place. They were within you all along. So let them judge, let them talk, let them doubt. Every time you feel the sting of someone's criticism, remind yourself their opinion cannot add to me, and it cannot take away from me. I am enough as I am. I am worthy as I am. I am powerful as I am. And the more you live from that truth, the less sway their judgments will hold. Because at the end of the day, their judgment is theirs to carry, not yours. And when you let them carry it, instead of picking it up yourself, you stay free. You stay at peace. You stay in your power. There comes a time in every life when someone you thought would be permanent chooses to leave. It might be a friend you've known for years who suddenly drifts away. It could be a partner who no longer sees a future with you. It might even be a family member who distances themselves or refuses to show up in the ways you hoped they would. Whatever the form, losing people is one of the most difficult parts of being human. We cling, we replay conversations, we beg for explanations, we wonder what we did wrong or what we could have done differently to make them stay. But here's the truth. The let them theory teaches us when people walk away, let them. Not everyone is meant to stay in your story forever, and trying to hold on to those who are meant to leave only drains the peace and power you need to keep moving forward. It's natural to grieve. We are wired for connection, and we want consistency in our relationships. But think about how much energy is wasted when you chase someone who has already decided they don't want to be there. You pour yourself into proving your worth, convincing them to stay, or fixing things that were never fully yours to fix. And while you're doing all of that, you're missing the bigger truth. When someone leaves, they create space. That space isn't meant to break you. It's meant to open you. It's an invitation for something new, healthier, and more aligned to enter your life. But if your hands are clenched around what's gone, they'll never be open to receive what's next. Consider this: the people who are meant for your life will not need to be begged to stay. They will show up, they will meet you halfway, they will celebrate your wins and walk with you through losses. When someone is constantly slipping through your fingers, ignoring your value, or treating your presence as optional, that's not a reflection of your lack of worth. It's a reflection of their lack of readiness, willingness, or capacity to hold the space you deserve. And no matter how much you want them to, you cannot force someone to see you. You cannot force someone to honor your place in their life. If you do, you will only end up betraying yourself in the process. Letting them walk away is not weakness. It is strength. It is the courage to acknowledge that not all chapters are meant to last forever. Some people are lessons, some are blessings, and some are both. They may have played an important role in who you are today, but that doesn't mean they're meant to play a role in who you are becoming tomorrow. Trying to drag someone into your future who only belongs in your past creates more pain than peace. By letting them go, you honor the season they were meant for without sacrificing the seasons yet to come. Think of a tree. Each year, it sheds leaves that once gave it life. The leaves weren't bad, they were necessary for a time. But when their season is over, the tree doesn't cling. It doesn't cry out, "Please stay." It lets them fall, trusting that new growth will come in the right season? What if you lived your life the same way? What if you stopped grasping for what's no longer meant for you and instead trusted that letting go makes room for something better? This doesn't mean you harden your heart or shut yourself off from love, friendship, or connection. Quite the opposite. It means you open yourself up to relationships built on mutual respect, trust, and reciprocity. By letting go of those who walk away, you protect your energy for those who genuinely want to walk with you. You free yourself from begging for crumbs and instead position yourself to receive a feast. And perhaps most importantly, you show yourself that your worth was never tied to who stayed or who left. It was always yours to begin with. Of course, there will be pain in this process. It hurts to watch someone you care for choose a different path. It hurts to feel abandoned or overlooked, but healing begins when you stop interpreting their departure as a verdict on your value. People leave for reasons that often have little to do with you. Sometimes it's timing, sometimes it's growth, sometimes it's fear, and sometimes they simply weren't meant to stay. Whatever the reason, their leaving does not diminish your light. It does not erase your worth. It does not take away your power. When you adopt this perspective, you stop wasting time trying to drag unwilling people along your journey. You no longer chase after what walked away. You choose instead to keep walking your path with dignity. And in doing so, you attract people who are aligned, people who see you, people who want to build and grow alongside you. You begin to discover the relationships that don't drain your peace but protect it, that don't diminish your power but multiply it. So the next time someone chooses to walk away, resist the urge to beg, to bargain, or to break yourself in the hope of keeping them. Instead, take a deep breath and whisper to yourself, let them. Let them walk. Let them go. Let them make space for what's truly meant for you. It may hurt in the moment, but in time you will look back and see the beauty in the release. You'll realize that your peace became stronger and your power more unshakable the moment you stopped clinging to what was trying to leave. Because in the end, holding on to what doesn't want to stay only delays the good that is waiting to arrive. And when you truly believe that, you'll no longer fear the people who leave. You'll trust the future that's coming. That is the gift of the let them theory. You don't lose yourself when others walk away. You find yourself. You protect your peace. You take back your power. Doubt is something everyone encounters, especially when you set your sights on something bigger than yourself. The moment you declare a dream, you'll notice that people around you suddenly have opinions. Some will cheer, some will quietly hope you succeed, but many will doubt. They will question your abilities, minimize your vision, or suggest that you're reaching too high. At first, it hurts. You wonder why the people you expected to support you seem to be the very ones discouraging you. But this is where the let them theory steps in with a liberating truth. If people doubt you, let them. Their disbelief does not limit your destiny, and their uncertainty doesn't diminish your potential. Doubt, in its rawest form, is often a projection. People can only see the world through the lens of their own beliefs and experiences. If someone doubts your dream, it's usually because they can't imagine themselves accomplishing it. They may have been taught to play small. They may have lived through disappointments that hardened them. They may not have the courage to risk failure, so they can't picture you risking it either. When you understand that their doubt is more about them than about you, it becomes easier to release it. You don't need to carry their limitations as your own. Consider how many people throughout history were doubted before they succeeded. Every innovator, every leader, every artist, every world changer had moments when others dismissed their vision. Imagine what would have happened if they had let doubt stop them. If they had said, maybe they're right. Maybe I can't do this. We wouldn't have the inventions, the breakthroughs, or the progress that shape our lives today. Their greatness was not proven in the absence of doubt, but in their decision to move forward despite it. When people doubt you, you have two choices. You can let it break you, or you can let it build you. You can internalize their disbelief and shrink, or you can use it as fuel to prove. not to them, but to yourself, that you are capable of more than they ever imagined. In this way, doubt becomes a powerful motivator. It pushes you to dig deeper, to work harder, to sharpen your skills, and to build resilience. Every time someone says you can't, you have the chance to show yourself that you can. And every time you do, your confidence grows stronger than the doubt ever was. But here's the key: you're not working to prove them wrong. If that becomes your focus, you'll always be chasing validation. Instead, you're working to prove yourself right. You're working because the dream inside you matters, because the vision you carry is worth the effort, because the calling on your life is too important to surrender just because someone else can't see it. Doubt may surround you, but it doesn't have to live within you. Think about the times in your life when you achieved something others didn't expect you to. Maybe it was graduating when someone thought you wouldn't make it. Maybe it was starting a business others doubted would succeed. Maybe it was healing from a setback that others assumed would break you. Looking back, wasn't it powerful to realize that their doubt didn't define you? That you had more strength, more perseverance, more vision than even you may have realized at first. That's the gift hidden inside doubt. It forces you to tap into reserves of determination and creativity you might never have discovered otherwise. Of course, facing doubt isn't always easy. It can feel heavy when it comes from people you love, a parent who doesn't understand your career choice, a friend who downplays your goals, a partner who questions whether your dream is realistic. It hurts because you want their support. You want them to believe in you. But even when they don't, you still have a choice. You can spend your energy trying to convince them, or you can channel that energy into building the life you envision. Convincing them may or may not work, but building your vision will speak for itself. Eventually, your results will become undeniable. And even if they never change their minds, that's okay. Their doubt is not your cage unless you let it be. Their disbelief does not erase your ability. Their small vision does not cancel your big calling. You can keep moving forward whether they see it or not. Because in the end, your peace and power come not from what others believe about you, but from what you choose to believe about yourself. So the next time someone doubts you, don't argue. Don't waste your breath trying to persuade them. Smile and say to yourself, let them. Let them doubt, let them whisper, let them question. While they're busy doubting, you stay busy building. While they're saying you can't, you keep proving to yourself that you can. While they're choosing disbelief, you choose faith. And step by step, you will outgrow their doubt, not because you needed to, but because you were destined to. In time, some of those who doubted you may come around. They may say they always knew you'd succeed. They may try to align themselves with your victories, and some may never acknowledge your growth at all. But by then, it won't matter, because you will have already learned the deeper truth. You never needed their belief to succeed. You only ever needed your own. That is the freedom of the let them theory. When others doubt you, let them. Their doubt does not weaken you unless you allow it to. In fact, it can strengthen you. It can sharpen you. It can fuel you. And most of all, it can remind you that your peace and power have never belonged in their hands. They've been yours all along. One of the greatest thieves of peace is drama. You know the kind. It shows up in gossiping conversations, unnecessary arguments, toxic group dynamics, and the endless cycle of negativity that some people thrive on. Drama drains. It consumes time, energy, and joy. And before you realize it, you're caught in a storm that was never even yours to begin with. The let them theory offers a powerful alternative. If people choose drama, let them. Let them complain, argue, and stir the pot. You don't have to join in. You don't have to defend yourself. You don't have to match their energy. You can choose peace, and in doing so, you take back your power. We've all been pulled into drama at some point. Maybe a coworker criticizes you unfairly, and your first instinct is to snap back. Maybe a family member keeps recycling old conflicts, and you feel like you have to defend yourself every single time. Maybe friends are gossiping, and you feel pressured to contribute so you won't be left out. But what happens after you engage? Do you feel stronger, calmer, more joyful? Or do you leave the interaction frustrated, drained, and wishing you hadn't wasted your time? Drama rarely ends with resolution. More often, it creates cycles of bitterness, mistrust, and wasted energy. And if you're not careful, it will distract you from your goals and rob you of the peace you need to keep moving forward. Choosing peace over drama doesn't mean you're weak. In fact, it takes incredible strength to walk away from a fight when your ego is screaming for you to respond. It takes discipline to remain calm when someone tries to provoke you. It takes wisdom to know which battles matter and which ones don't deserve your energy. When you refuse to be pulled into drama, you're not surrendering, you're standing taller. You're saying, I value my peace too much to give it away for free. Think of it like this. Every time you react to drama, you're giving someone else control over your emotions. If they can trigger you into anger, gossip, or defensiveness, then they're pulling the strings. But when you choose not to react, when you stay calm, when you let them choose drama without following them into it, you're showing that you are in charge of yourself. That's real power. You're no longer a puppet to other people's chaos. It's important to recognize that drama often thrives on attention. The more you feed it, the bigger it gets. Arguments escalate because people keep fueling them. Gossip spreads because people keep repeating it. Toxic cycles continue because people keep participating in them. But when you step back and refuse to engage, you starve drama of the energy it craves. Eventually, it fizzles out. And in the meantime, you remain grounded in your peace. Of course, this doesn't mean you let people disrespect you or trample over your boundaries. Choosing peace doesn't mean staying silent in situations where your voice is needed. It means picking your battles with intention. You address what truly matters, calmly, firmly, and without unnecessary theatrics. And the rest, you let it go. You let them talk. You let them stir. You let them spin their stories. Not everything requires your defense, and not every fight deserves your presence. This perspective is especially powerful in professional settings. Workplaces are often hotbeds of drama, whether it's gossip in the break room, politics in meetings, or subtle competition between colleagues. You can either get swept into the undercurrent or rise above it. The people who choose peace tend to stand out as leaders because they don't waste energy on petty conflicts. They focus on solutions, growth, and the bigger picture, and that's what sets them apart. It's also true in personal relationships. Every family has disagreements. Every friendship faces tension. Every partnership goes through conflict. But when one person insists on feeding drama while the other chooses peace, the tone of the relationship shifts. If you refuse to escalate, refuse to retaliate, and instead choose calm communication or even quiet distance, you break the cycle. You no longer contribute to the chaos, and in doing so, you protect your well-being. Think about how much lighter life becomes when you don't feel the need to respond to every criticism, argue with every gossiper, or join every conflict. You reclaim hours of your life, but more importantly, you reclaim mental and emotional freedom. Peace becomes your superpower. You walk into rooms differently because you're not weighed down by the latest conflict. You carry yourself differently because you're not entangled in other people's mess. You can focus on your goals, your dreams, your healing, your growth. And yes, there will be people who misinterpret your choice. They may say you're avoiding, ignoring, or being passive. But here's the truth. It's not avoidance. It's alignment. It's not ignoring. It's prioritizing. You're not passive. You're powerful because you're refusing to let others dictate how you feel or how you live. You're simply choosing a higher road, one that values peace over chaos, growth over gossip, and purpose over petty distractions. The next time someone tries to bait you into drama, pause. Take a breath. Remind yourself that their storm doesn't have to become your storm. Let them choose drama if they want. Let them argue, gossip, or stir. That's their choice, not yours. Your choice is peace. Your choice is clarity. Your choice is to keep moving forward with your energy intact and your power unshaken. Because at the end of the day, peace is not something you stumble into. It's something you protect. It's something you fight for in a quiet, steady way by refusing to hand it over to anyone else's chaos. That's the power of the let them theory. When they choose drama, let them. And when you choose peace, you win. Not just the moment, but your life back. Would you like me to also expand point 6? Let them be who they are, while you stay true to you, into 800 words to complete the set? You said, expend it 6 into 800 words without heading. ChatGPT said, one of the hardest lessons to learn in life is that people will not always act the way you want them to. They will not always meet your expectations, share your values, or mirror your level of effort. Some will frustrate you, some will disappoint you, and some will outright hurt you. The natural instinct is to try to change them, convince them to see things your way, pressure them into behaving differently, or hold on tightly until they finally become who you hope they'd be. But the let them theory offers a different approach. Let them be who they are. While they are busy being themselves, you focus on staying true to who you are. That shift is where freedom and peace are found. Think about how often we get caught up in the trap of expectation. You expect a friend to be more supportive, a coworker to be more reliable, a partner to communicate better, or a family member to love in the way you want to be loved. When they fall short, frustration builds. You replay their actions in your mind, wishing they would just change. But here's the truth. People rarely change because you want them to. They change when they're ready, if they choose to. And in the meantime, all your energy spent trying to mold them only drains you and leaves you feeling powerless. Letting them be who they are doesn't mean you have to accept harmful behavior or allow people to mistreat you. It simply means you stop wasting time trying to rewrite someone else's story. You cannot rewrite their personality, their choices, or their patterns. You can only write your own. And that's where your real power lies, in deciding who you want to be, regardless of what anyone else does. Imagine being in a relationship where you constantly hope the other person will change. You hope they'll become more affectionate, more communicative, more ambitious, more present. Maybe they change for a short while, but eventually they slip back into their natural patterns. The cycle repeats: hope, disappointment, frustration. Now imagine if instead of trying to change them, you simply accepted who they are and made a choice about what you want for your own life. Do you stay knowing this is the reality? Do you walk away honoring your need for something different? Either way, you reclaim your power because you're no longer waiting on them to be someone they are not. You are making choices rooted in authenticity instead of illusion. This mindset also frees you from judgment. When you let people be who they are, you stop trying to control them, and in turn, you stop holding them to unrealistic standards. You begin to see them with compassion instead of constant criticism. You may not agree with their choices, but you understand they're on their own journey, just as you are. And when you approach people from that place of acceptance, relationships become lighter. There's less tension, less conflict, less disappointment. You simply allow others to live their lives while you live yours. Of course, the other side of this coin is staying true to yourself, because it's easy to get lost in the noise of what everyone else is doing. It's tempting to bend your values to fit in, to water down your authenticity so others are more comfortable, or to mirror other people's energy instead of staying grounded in your own. But when you lose yourself trying to manage others, you end up exhausted, resentful, and disconnected from your own identity. Staying true to yourself means knowing your values, your boundaries, and your vision, and choosing them consistently, even when it's unpopular or misunderstood. Staying true to yourself might mean walking away from relationships that no longer align with your growth. It might mean saying no when everyone else expects you to say yes. It might mean pursuing a dream others think is unrealistic, or living in a way that goes against the grain of tradition. And it will definitely mean making peace with the fact that not everyone will understand you. That's okay. They don't have to. Your life is not meant to be lived according to their script. It's meant to be lived according to your truth. When you combine these two pieces, letting others be who they are and staying true to who you are, you create a powerful kind of balance. You stop wasting energy on controlling others, and you invest that energy into living authentically. You no longer feel the need to change people, and you no longer feel the need to change yourself to please people. That's freedom. That's peace. Imagine how your life would feel if you released the need to control, if you allowed people to live as they choose without making it your responsibility to fix, manage, or convince them. Imagine how grounded you'd feel if you could stand in your truth, calmly and consistently, no matter what was happening around you. The chaos of life would still exist, but it wouldn't shake you as easily, because your stability wouldn't depend on others. It would depend on you. So the next time you find yourself frustrated because someone isn't living up to your expectations, pause. Take a deep breath and remind yourself, let them. Let them be who they are. If they're unreliable, let them. If they're negative, let them. If they're unmotivated, let them. That's their choice, not yours. Your choice is how you respond. Your choice is whether you engage, whether you set boundaries, whether you stay or walk away. Your choice is to remain authentic. No matter how inauthentic others may be, at the end of the day, you can't control who people are, but you can always control who you are. And when you embrace that truth, you stop losing yourself in frustration and start living with clarity. That is how you take back your peace and power, by releasing the need to manage others and recommitting to the power of your own authenticity. Because the greatest gift you can give yourself is freedom. And freedom comes when you let people be who they are, while you stay true to the one person you're responsible for, yourself.